All right, perfect. All right, so this one's really kind of an intro to Matrix. And then, so we'll go through kind of the searching in Matrix. We'll hit the CMAs in Matrix. Then we're going to jump out of Matrix to hit the CMAs in all the other products. So there is about 7 CMAs across the MARIS data set, product set. So we'll touch on each of those. Definitely don't be overwhelmed by that. What the goal of this is partially is to just show you what you have available and to see what works for your clients. A lot of times with the CMA, it's that ability to have a backup to what you started in one system so you have multiple sources of data for your client. So I'm going to go ahead and launch Matrix. Again, we do have the Learn More tab, so you can always click on videos through there as well. When we get into the search, I do want to, since you guys are in Illinois, I love Illinois. I'm on the Illinois side myself here sitting in Collinsville. So the biggest thing, of course, is I go into my search screen and it says Missouri, and I don't want it to say Missouri, right? Sometimes I do if I'm going to be working on both sides. But for the most part, when you first come in, if you go to your search screen, and I always use detail because there's a little extra space in there. There is the ability, if I click state, Illinois, to go up to this little gear, click it and default that as my starting default. That way, every time I come into my search screen, it's Illinois. So I don't have to worry about that. Same thing on that homepage, that market watch, customize that one time. Make sure you're seeing what you want to see. If you want to see Illinois, if you want to see both sides, you can unselect both of them so that they're both there. You can go further and add counties and cities. You can add zip codes. You can add subdivisions if you want to. So whatever you kind of want to narrow into is up to you. But you want to make that your own so you're not constantly drugging through all this information you don't need. All right, so kind of this is your home screen. We won't touch too much on this stuff outside of search, but I do like to draw people's attention to it. This search box is your best. When your client calls you with a one address, use this search box to find that address. It crosses all property types, it crosses all statuses, and it's easily laid out so you know how to enter data. Okay. This speed bar, a lot of people want to use it, and I get that 100%, but it's just residential generally that comes up first. But sometimes it's a lot easier to find things on your search box. But on your home screen, you've also got my carts where you can save carts, you can save searches. You always know when your clients are visiting their portals just to auto email, right? We did add this new Matrix education widget. This is my kind of new baby. Every Monday I go in and update a new question of the week to see what your knowledge of Matrix is. The great piece is whether everyone in the system gets it right or wrong, I don't know who answered the question what way. So don't feel upset to get it wrong or not do it because of that. On Thursdays, these change to the upcoming webinar, so you can always see what we're talking about next week. So let's go into search, and we'll kind of start with the comp type of search, right? So you guys normally go in with your active under contract for your buyers, putting in price range and bedrooms and bathrooms. And if you have any questions on that, please feel free to ask those because I don't want you to not get out of it what you'd like to. The big question for new members is always, how do I select more than one? And that's holding down Control on a PC or Command on a Mac. Okay, so in terms of a CMA search, we're going to start here on this screen, and we're going to, of course, put our subject property up here at the top. So, and I should have got, Barry, do you want me to use your address or should I find a different one?
You can use mine.
What's that one again?
It is 908 Phillip Court.
There it is.
There it is.
Down. All right, so you'll notice that it should pop up a little box right below that. That's going to be able to make sure you have that map area selected properly. And if I go over to the map, it should show me exactly what it's pulling data from, exactly where that radius is. So when I go back to the criteria page, I can choose to update that range from a 1/4 mile to a 1/2 mile. to a 1, all the way up to 25. Generally, we're staying in a 1 mile range for CMAs or less. Depending on if you get into one of those rurals where you have to go out a little bit further, that could be a little different. Once you put in your location there, then we're going to choose statuses. So of course, we're going to need closed data, right? Some will go back 365. Some choose to try 6 months and go 180. It really depends on kind of how much information is around you and how far back you need to go. But these are the two that agents kind of, I'll go out a little bit further, but maybe I'll come in a little bit closer on time frame. So you can kind of play with those to get what you're truly looking at. You don't just have to add closed properties to a CMA. You can add pending, you could add expired, and those are for different reasons. So I might add pending because I want to see what it's currently up against, right? What's already possibly being closed out. I could add expired so I can tell the client, well, here's what's recently been priced out of the market, or maybe it just wasn't within that right range, so that I can really give them a view of what the market's doing. Okay, so we can go in and add more information if we want to. We can change the timeframes here as well to match. Then we can add in more information if you want to. So you can keep going and say, well, my subject is a 3-bedroom, my subject has a 2-bathroom, whatever it could be. I like to do this on the results page, because sometimes if you don't have just that data set, you're going to need to play or have extra room to play with. So I'm going to go to my results piece. And here are the 6 properties I found. So they're all about a 1/4 mile away. It looks like 0.2. I could sort. So if maybe one is a 0.0 and that's down here, I could sort it by distance so that I know which is the closest to furthest away. As I'm scrolling through now, I'm taking a look at these properties. The biggest thing that I love about this system in regards to CMA is the ability to put more data on your single line display, because you'll be looking at specific data sets across all properties to really match what they are. So I'm going to maybe drag this price range over here next to address just so I can see it. Maybe I'm going to do the same with my bedrooms and my bathrooms, right? Maybe I need to insert a column because to them, their basement was pretty important. So I'm going to add a basement description and apply. Okay, so you can kind of go in and see how we're really going to kind of put these up next to each other one at a time. Now, if maybe this was a crawl space, then maybe I'm going to go with these 3 because they're all spacer crawls.
I have a question.
Sure.
I'm going along with you to make sure I'm doing it, but where did you go to click add so you could put the basement on there?
Oh, sure. So I is at the end of any column heading. So if I like hover out here, you'll notice how my cursor changed to a 4-sided arrow.
Yep.
If you left click when that happens, it will allow you to insert a column.
Okay, gotcha.
And then you can choose whichever column you'd like to add.
Just so you guys know, I learned that
Thank
like
you.
3 months ago and it changed my entire life. I did not know that till like 3 months ago when I was on a training with Randi Marie and she was like, oh yeah, you can do that. And I'm like, crap.
This is the one that agents find really, really helpful because it is kind of a time waster to have to go through every detailed display to figure out the basement in every single property. So this will really help you kind of narrow those down.
Well, Ariel, wasn't it you and me? Ariel.
Yeah.
Yeah, this
think it
changed
was,
your entire life the other day, didn't it?
Yep.
Nice.
I felt it was like feeling so stupid, but it was like enlightening.
Oh yeah.
That's awesome.
Yeah, we eliminated half of the houses on her list.
Really? That's awesome. Yeah, because and like I said, you look at these 6, you're like, oh, these are identical. They're not. So yeah, you kind of keep in that piece. So it's awesome. Cool. So once you get them set to, before we kind of go further, remember you can save this. So if this is how you always want to view your CMA displays, click on this piece of paper with a pencil and name this your CMA display, and then save it as a copy. Whenever you save anything as a copy, it automatically goes into your display options. So you can constantly open those to have them accessed. So you don't have to keep adding that column every single time. And if you really need to, and this is not just a CMA thing, you can go over to the defaults and say, I always want to see all of these fields, no matter what search I'm running. So that can work too. All right, so in terms of these three, say that, well, what number is a good number? It really depends on what you're showing. It depends on what you feel comfortable with. I read an Art of the CMA book, and their survey was to all the agents in their area, how many comps do you use? And the number they got back was anywhere between 5 and 12. So it really depends on what you really think is going to show the best for your property. For me, I just choose 3 because when I open up this print button and show you the CMA first display, it only puts 3 on a page. So that's why I chose the 3, but you can pick and choose whatever works best for your properties. So before we do that, any questions so far on the search screen, on the map, on the results page that we're at?
Would we be able to do an example when we're done learning on the
We can.
CMAs? Okay,
Yeah, if you
because I have
want
a
to.
specific property that I would love to get a CMA on, just so I know how to do it, and I also wanted to do it for my customer.
Okay, well, we can do it one of 2 ways. It's up to you. I know we have to get through a bunch of CMAs. I also have one-on-one hours where we could just meet and go over those, or if Barry wants to, we can go over that one directly in class. It's up to you guys. So let me get through this one and then we'll ask back about that one and then we'll go forward. So, yep, I have my 3. So there are 2 options here. One is the print button. And in that print button, I have 2 reports. One is going to be my CMA 1 line, and the other, I'm going to hold down Control or Command on a Mac, is going to be my 3-up comparison report. So these are meant to be very quick and simple CMAs. There's no adjustments. The subject property doesn't show in there. It's just a 1-page, basically, maybe a couple if you have more than 3 comps report that pulls up. It's going to open for me in just a second. There we go. Now in front of you, you should be seeing the CMA 1 line. So basically, you'll see the residential. Because I've picked more than 1 property type, it gave me 2 sections. Because I don't want to, of course, mix my expired data with my closed data. Those are speaking to 2 separate pieces. So in the closed data, it shows my high-low median. And then it shows my high-low median and expired as well. And then the grand totals of both of those. Then it also gives me that side-by-side look at those properties. Okay, so I can really click in. Interestingly enough, these must be display homes because those pictures are exactly the same right there. Yep, I think they're the same property, just different MLS numbers. So expired. Okay, that's all right. I should have looked a little bit closer. But you'll see, you can kind of scroll down and see each individual data set. So when you're with your client, you can say, well, here's kind of the averages. And here are the similarities and where they differ through the system. All right, now that's just in the print button. The other option, and we're going to talk about this across HomeSnap and Remine and RPR. So there are quick CMAs that are meant to just kind of give a kind of an estimate. And then there are the really in-depth CMAs. And that next one is going to be one of those in-depth ones. And that's the CMA button. And it's meant to create a listing presentation for you. So really you're going to go from start all the way across to finish to build the CMA. Okay, so the first being, hey, what do you want to name your CMA? Because the minute we started it, in my matrix CMAs, they're saving a copy of the CMA for you. So you can come back to edit it, you can print it later, you always have access to it. A lot of times I just like to type in the description of maybe my client's name or the address, whichever I prefer. But basically what we're going to do is really just let it know that if I access it in CMAs, how do I want it filed? Once we've figured all that out, we're going to move over to pages. And what we're doing on this is we're building our presentation. So let me show these a little bit. You'll notice that when I remove the pages, all of my tabs disappeared. That's because I'm not building anything yet. I need to tell the system what it needs to build. So if I go in here and add a cover sheet with my photo, it's going to start to open up the pages that it needs in order to move forward. The subject and adjustments, maybe I'm going to put price adjustments on there, or maybe I'm not going to do adjustments. The comps, I'm going to go in there and add some of those in there. Maybe I want a static report. Static reports mean they don't change, they're just kind of an info sheet. And then the map. Now, if Keller Williams has a custom page that you want to add, you can manage those custom pages and it lives at the top. Testimonials, if you have a specific document that needs to live in that presentation, all of those stay up under those custom pages. So no matter where you are, you can print them, you can email them from the system. Once you get your pages set, you want to set this as a default. So one of the things I'm going to show you in RPR that they do really well is the ability to view what each of these pages look like, so you can determine what you want to see. In here, you kind of have to wait till the finished page to see what that looks like, but it's very easy to come back and add or remove pages if you need to. For me, I always suggest the very first time you do it, add everything. Maybe not the cover sheets because they're going to be the same, but add everything, see what you love, see what you don't, take out what you don't, and then save it. All right, from pages, we're going to move over to the subject property. So remember in our print button, we didn't have a subject property. It's just showing the comps. So I have 3 ways to add my subject property in this CMA wizard. I can type everything in manually. I can find an old listing number and fill from that, or I can search to see if I want to use an old listing. For this one, I'm just going to type everything in manually because it will pull forward every piece of data from that old MLS number. So the remarks section, it's going to pull how many days on market, what the old listing number is. If you want that data in here, you can keep it, but remember, none of that is mandatory. So if you do fill from a search, you're able to remove data as you want to. As you go through, I always suggest, of course, just filling in the main information at least. Okay, because whatever you fill in here is what's going to be listed under the subject property. So when we go to the page where it shows comps, similar to that 3 up, it only puts 3 on a page. So the very first one is going to be your subject property and then 2 comps next to it. If you've not put in how many bedrooms or bathrooms are in those properties, they'll just be blank. So you want to go in and actually add values to that spot. Now, as you scroll through, remember that any feature you add is also what you're available to adjust by if you use adjustments. If you don't use adjustments, you can just add custom fields so they display on the report, but these are other things that you can adjust by. So if I wanted to go in and in Illinois, sometimes they will give a different value, most places, below grade square footage versus above. So I can go in and add a column for a below grade square footage so that when I'm doing my adjustment, I can make an adjustment for that. And all I had to do was click on this arrow and either link to a matrix build that already exists so that Matrix can bring that into this program for me, or I can create my own. Now, your own might be the condition of the property, that being purely kind of a subjective where you're going through and saying this is good, poor, excellent, and then you're adding a value for that. That's not something we have in Matrix, but we do have below grade square footage. We do have kitchen types. We have all those other fields in there also. So once you get those, you can always save those as your custom fields. Now, if you get into yours and you're like, I don't even have a custom fields, and she talked all about these custom fields, it only appears if you have the pricing adjustment chosen on your screen. because it thinks that you'd only want that to adjust by. You do want to add a property photo because that's what's going to print big and beautiful on your cover sheet. Okay. You can add remarks. You do also want to locate your property if you're using the map. Okay. That way it's going to show exactly. And I never remember if I should put in the apostrophe or not. There we go. So that you can hit done. So when we go to the map page, that property is on there. So it knows where the subject is. All right, so I have my subject page filled in. Well, I didn't add my property photo, but that's okay. You guys would. My cover sheet then, the subject property would just pull forward. My agent information pulls from the system. I can edit it through here. I can override it for just the CMA. I'm sending this to my sister. I don't need her to email me at work. Here's my regular phone number and my contact information of who I'm creating the CMA for. Now the comps piece is already in here, but that's because you've already done that through the search, right? Now there are other agents who go in through My Matrix CMAs, and you can start a CMA from in here versus the search results screen. In that case, when you came into here, you'd actually go to create your search first. But I always prefer, I think you guys start on your search screen anyway. So if you start from there, you might as well kind of keep moving forward from there. So if I found that one of these didn't work, you know, oh, well, I didn't dig very well because these are the same properties. So I'm going to go in and remove that. And then I'm going to go to my listings, rerun my search, and just find another property. Okay, so that's going to kind of keep me getting new properties. I can also add from a cart. If you're searching around throughout the week and you say, oh, you know, that CMA for Barry's coming up on Saturday and this property would be perfect. It's right near where he lives. I'm going to keep it in a cart for that specific CMA so that I can just drag it in there when I get there. So that if I do my search and it's not there for whatever reason, I can just click and add. All right, this does still give you that same ability of inserting and removing columns. So if you need to kind of look through those. The map page, you don't really have to do anything here. As long as you've located that home, it's going to show there, and then it's going to show your comps as red upside down little houses there. Then the adjustments come in. And adjustments, that's kind of always up to whether you're comfortable with that, whether you want to do that or not. If you go in and you say, you know, I couldn't find a 3-bedroom, this is probably a 4, I didn't ask Barry, but you can change the value here. So if my subject has 3, but all my comps had 4, I can remove value to make it match that 3.
Yep, it's a 4-3.
It's a 4-3. Okay.
It's a 4-3.
I should have asked.
No, that's, and you know what? That's fine.
Mm-hmm. So yeah, so if it's a 4, then we're great. If it was a 3, like a subject property was a 3, we can remove. We can say a bedroom is worth $10,000. And again, that's just a number I pulled out of the air. That's not for sure. And it's going to go do those adjustments for me. Okay, so it's going to remove that $10,000 value to make those 4 bedrooms match my 3-bedroom. All right, if these were 2-bedroom homes, it would add $10,000. Where to find those adjustments? That's always a tough one. I always send you back to Keller Williams. They probably have excellent sources of where they would get that data from. Some people look at ANSI standards, but it's harder to pull together because it's each individual piece. Barry's shaking his head no. RPR uses Hanley Wood to do those, which is a redesigning kind of firm. So it's really up to, I would tell you to go back to Keller Williams. They'll give you that best adjustment value for you.
Yeah, and I'm going to tell you how to do it, not give you the answer, because the answer is find other 4-3s and look at the price difference and then comp from that.
Perfect.
That way, because not every neighborhood's the same.
Absolutely. And that's why the MLS won't give you a value, because if I said it was 10,000 for one, it would not be 10,000 for the next one.
Right.
So absolutely. All right, guys. So yep, as we scroll through, you can make other adjustments, square footage. The very last two were the ones we added. So we can do those value changes here. Square footage below grade, we said this is something in the MLS, but no one added a below grade square footage. So we don't have data, but we could still make an adjustment if we needed to. For condition, this was not something that's a part of matrix. So you have to give what it should be or what it is, right? So this is maybe good, this is maybe excellent, and then I could give a value for that. Once you're finished with all those adjustments, and there's two ways to view adjustments. I've always done this just because it's the first way, but there's a detail mode. If you prefer to adjust for one property at a time, you can go through that whole property making adjustments and hit the next option to adjust for the second property and the third and the fourth and so on.
Now I'm going to give you guys something that watching Randy Marie do this. We talk about how the prices have increased over time. Randy and Marie and I started doing this last summer together. And we've used my address the whole time. I just looked at September's number when we did it back in September. Randy Marie, you're gonna crap. It has gone up $60-something thousand.
Holy cow.
That tells you where the market is today. And that's why, guys, a little pro tip again, if you're looking at neighborhoods, continue to look at those on a consistent basis, because you're going to see a continuous rise or a fall. Because I look at my neighborhood every month with Randy Marie, I'm able to see that increase in value, and it's now gone up $60,000 in 6 months. So it's called trends. I mean, you're just knowing the trends, and you're
Right.
knowing the neighborhood and where it's going up and where it's going bad. Your buyers are not going to know that unless they're watching, every single day, just like we watch it every month during this exercise.
Absolutely. Yeah, that's crazy. It's so interesting too, guys, to kind of watch how that changes. So yeah, keep an eye on that one for sure. The pricing piece, that was my bad because I did not add my pricing recommendations, but I do want to show you that page. So some agents will use this, some agents won't. What this page is really saying, I think you should list for this, and here's why. Some agents don't want to go into it with a number that they just put in front of their client and say, here's the range. Others do. So it's completely up to you what you add. Some like to add a little bit of suspense where they'll talk to their client, see what they're thinking, and then pull in the range. So that is available to you. It can show on there if you want it. And then when you hit finish, you can view or email the CMA. So I showed two print as Randy Marie's yours. It's not a glitch. You should see only one unless you're on a team, and then you'll see the team name there as well. All right, so let me view the CMA. I guess I should wait until this. Oh. Where is it going? Okay, at some point this will pop up correctly for me and I will share it. There it is. All right, so hopefully in front of you, you're seeing the blue comparative market analysis screen. Awesome. So you will of course have that big, beautiful photo. All of your information is here, that subject properties info, when it's prepared, your information, and then you're going to scroll through. So this is another reason to add that property photo for your subject, because that is what your clients are going to see compared against the other two. And then because I had 3 comps and only 2 get put on a page, I'm going to have 2 pages. So my next page will also have my subject up next to my comp. So I keep scrolling, and this is why I tell you add all those pages to start with, so you can look through, see which ones give you the most value and which ones you can really kind of hit home as a target page, so you can make sure you always have that available. This is really the only template we have right now. I know there's some in the works to actually put your banners across the top and to make changes, but those aren't officially here yet. So that's what we have right now, and that's the same one everybody uses through Matrix. That is why also we're going to go out and show some of the other ones, because maybe you want to look a little different with this one, or maybe you want to brand a little bit more. So those are available also. Okay, so I am happy to kind of go back to the search and we can look at that other property, or we can take a look at the other products real quick as well. What is your thought, Barry, on time? Is that cool?
Let's go through the products.
Okay.
And if we have time, Ariel, I know you wanted some help. There is one-on-one time with me, and there's one-on-one time with Randy Marie, and we can walk you through specific properties if you need to.
Okay.
Awesome. Okay. All right. So let's go back and say we were doing this 908 fill up. I don't know if it's in this. Has it already? Let me see. Yep. There we go. I can never remember. So if I click on this property address, Realist also has a CMA. So I want to show you the really quick and simple way to do a Realist one. So I put in my property information. Now, again, at the very beginning, I told you not to use the speed bar, and then I did exactly that. So let me show you how else you might do that. If I go to the main matrix page, I can just put in 908 here and fill up here. I don't need the court because that is a suffix and it should find it without that. And then I can hit search. If you're worried that there's too many across Illinois and Missouri, you can always click a state. You don't have to fill in every box. So when I hit that search, now here are my results. Okay. So I could click on the MLS number to get the detail, or the same button I'm going to click in there is right out here to the side, and that's the TX button for Realist. Now that's the Realist tax information. And when it opens, you can look through this, right? You want to kind of make sure you have all the information on that property before you get started with pulling your comps, because it's going to give you all that last market information, the mortgage history, all of that data. But at the very top is a comps button. So I can just click on comparables. It's going to open up Realist for me, and it's going to show me the ones around that property. Realist does take a little bit longer to load. It's got all that tax and county record information. So it's the one that you will get the spinning wheel probably most often when you're looking at products. It's got the quick little map showing you where everything sits. And then down at the bottom, it's got a list of the properties. Now, a lot of the times, the first time you come into Realist, it's going to say, we didn't find any comps for you. The reason it does that is because you haven't set your search parameters yet. It doesn't know if you want to search a mile out, if you want to search with pools, if you want to search tax data or MLS data. So when you first get into Realist, if you get 0 results, click on the search criteria up here in the top right-hand corner, and that's going to allow you to choose how many comps you want, how you want them sorted, how you want them sourced, and any distance or information here. When you do, we're going to save and submit. That's going to refresh my page, and I should actually get that information now. It does keep the summary of statistics at the top for me, so I can always look at those. And then these are the ones I want to draw the most attention to for a second. These upside down red teardrops are what says it was in the MLS. Now, we sourced it with both tax and MLS data. So if there was a tax sale near Barry's house that was recorded recently, that's going to show in here also. That's not something that's going to show up in Matrix. Okay, so that's one of the key differences between this and that Matrix search, is I can come in here, pull some things, maybe there's some extra tax data. When I find all the properties I want, I can just generate that report. It's going to build on the screen, show me a map, show me the distance, going to show me all the subject information, the comps information, show me the property photos, and then down in the corner, I can just print or email it right from there. So it's very quick and simple. Again, the reason most agents use this Realist one is to complement their Matrix one. It's that extra source of data. Any questions on the Matrix one? I know we went through it kind of quickly. Okay, well then let's jump out to kind of the home snap and reminds of the world.
Yeah, you guys are all going to like this one. This is really important because these are all those tools that you're scared to touch.
Mm-hmm. Yes, please don't be scared. Please. We have a lady in the office who doesn't like to push buttons. I'm like, push all the buttons. None of them will explode, I promise. Home Snap and Remind are both apps on your phone. So if I am standing at a Starbucks and someone says, man, I really wish I knew the value of my home. Oh, well, I have this nice little tool. Let me run you in real quick. We'll talk through it, but know that I'm not in front of my computer. So it's not a crazy, super in-depth look. I'm going to go back to my office though and send you a really nice report. So if I go into Remind, remember, you all remember how we went through that. Okay. So if I run up to my search and look for my subject property, it's going to pull that up. And I don't want to click on the map because I just want to get straight into my property details. So I'm going to click on the property. When that opens, I'm going to click right down to CMA, and I'm going to click on Remind CMA 360. All right, you'll see that we have done other ones. There's the last one that we saved in here. So Remind CMA 360 is a 1, 2, 3, 4. So I'm going to select my search comparables or my comparable search. It gives it a pretty big range, right? Because we know it's a 4-bedroom. So we want to kind of narrow this down. We could go 3 to 5. We could go whatever works best for your search and how much area you have, right? We know it's a 3-bath, so we definitely probably don't want to get up into 5 baths, right? So we can make that how we want it to be. Scroll through, you can add any data that you want to. And you can go to listing information. So this is where we're going to say, well, I want closed data. But as you're typing closed, you'll see that it's both on and off MLS data that's available through Remind. So similar to my Realist, sorry, I can't talk all of a sudden, Realist search, I can pull in tax record searching. If I want to add those extras, I can add those as well, pending, expiration. All right, so I can add those as needed. My sold time frame automatically goes back 6 months. I can click it to change that if I want to. I can change my distance, very similar to what you saw in Matrix. You can go up custom, but I don't. Oh, it makes you draw your own. So after that, then you draw your own distance out. Let's go with a 0.5, and then we're going to hit search. Now, what's different between a Remind search versus a Matrix search is I'm not picking what to add to my search. I'm picking what to remove from my search. So when I look at the top, I can see, oh, well, I have 23. 17 of them were closed on MLS, 5 are expired, and only 1 is pending. As I scroll through, I can look at the data and see if it matches or not. Okay, some of these lists sold, they look like rentals because they were 1,300. So we want to remove those out of there. We don't need that. We remove this one, and then as you get into, wow, there's a lot of rentals in your area there. There we go. Remove all those. The reason they stay is in case you're kind of looking around and, hey, maybe I didn't want it, but now I do. So you need those pieces there. So I can start looking at all the data. You'll notice that my map is moving around as I click on these properties, and the little pin is wiggling on the screen because that's wanting me to verify in that shape where that property is. Now you say, well, this isn't a ton of data. What if I want to look at the full screen? Well, that's perfect. Remind always opens up a new tab. So I just click on the 516 East Jefferson. It opens in a new tab. My other CMA stays back here so that I don't have to worry about looking through this entire thing to see if it matches and then going back to choose if I want to add it or not. And of course, now my little Zoom tools are in the way. There we go. Okay. So as I go through and kind of pick and choose those, remember your market value is also updating. So you want to pay attention to anything that's super low because maybe there was a short sale or foreclosure information in there. You want to kind of piece out but you kind of just want to keep an eye on those outliers. Once you're all the way through with all of that, up in the top corner, you're just going to save and continue. And then you're just going to build your report. So pretty quick and simple. Remember, you can do this on your computer. You can do this on your phone. And then we already have color schemes for Keller Williams. So you'll be able to brand that as to the Keller Williams brand. You'll be able to upload your own company logo. Sometimes the logos they have are for the main corporate option and you have a local one. So you can upload those. And then when you save and continue, it will build on your screen, phone or your computer. You can look through it on your screen with your client. You can also print it to send it to them directly, right? So I can name my file. When I hit print on the screen, you'll notice it gives me two options, a print image or an include valuation. So what do those mean? So as I'm scrolling through, I get to the spot where I'm like, oh, First American and Redfin. Do I want that to be on my client's CMA? If not, I'm just gonna, when I hit print, remove it. As I keep scrolling, this gray box, the photo's not there. Well, if I send it to my client, I really want a photo of the property. So I want to print those images so that when I hit print, all of these photos pull from Google Street View.
Hey,
Yes,
Randy
ma'am.
Marie, here's another little pro tip. When you guys are doing CMAs, use multiple sources. Trust me, use Remind, use Matrix, use RPR, use them all, because you're going to get 3 different sets of numbers. You really will, based on the data that's pulled from those automated systems. You're going to end up with slightly different numbers in all 3. And then what you're going to do is you'll narrow it down from there to get a specific price. But I just want you to know that. Do not use one as your end all be all.
Agreed. And they all are really trying to make them look really pretty. So you'll have a lot of cool things to show everybody. So I'm going to close this out. This is what your CMA will look like, but when you print it up at the top, you can print that to them. Remind also works with Cloud CMA. So if anyone ever gets Cloud CMA, it is a very nice tool, but it will connect through there as well. So HomeSnap has a similar, it's just a rapid CMA. So when you launch HomeSnap, and remember, usually with HomeSnap, I'm on my phone, but you can also do this on your computer. So it's going to be, there we go. We're going to open up our subject property, same way. When you are in HomeSnap, please verify it says the word Pro. If it doesn't, this Send a Rapid CMA won't even be there. You won't have that option. So then you'll feel like I misled you or whatever. Make sure that Pro is there. You'll be good. So then we're going to follow the 5 simple steps here. We're going to tell it, hey, this is what our bedrooms and bathrooms look like in public record. Is this what it is? So I'm going to adjust those values and hit next. Then I'm going to pull some similar listings. Now this is where it's going to open up a bunch of active or contingent properties, and I can decide if I want to select those and add those in. If I do, I hit the button right here. If I don't, I just hit next, and it's going to move me right onto the next page. Now on my phone, it's going to give me a little pop-up that says, are you sure you want to continue without these? You just say, yep, and you move forward. The recent sales here, you can always take a look at those. For some reason on the computer, HomeSnap always completely takes me out of everything, so I have to go back. But on your phone, there's a back arrow, so you can just quickly get back to your CMA. Oh, it didn't this time. Yay! It opened a new tab, which is awesome. And then I can just click to select which ones I want. And then down at the bottom, I hit next. Now remember, there are still pendings in here as well, but they separate and put the sold up on top. The next step is to personalize it. So if you are sending it to yourself, you don't have to worry about this page. It already knows your email. It's going to send you one regardless. If you're sending it to your client, add their email, personalize that message, and hit next. One thing I would tell you with HomeSnap is that their CMA can be anywhere from 30 to 100 pages long. So I generally always send it to myself first so I can see what data set is going out and then just send it to my client from there. But that's up to you. Once you're done personalizing it, then you're going to review it. All right, just a quick review. It'll show your email, your messages, and then you hit submit. Now on your phone, it's going to automatically build in front of you through the computer. Almost forgot where I was. Then it's going to build, it's going to email you instead. So there's two different ways. If I'm just standing in line with someone, I can instantly look at that on my phone. If I'm not, I'm going to have to take that a step further. So let me see. I'm going to open up my Outlook in the back and see if I can open that up in just a second. All right, while we're waiting for that, any questions on Remine or HomeSnap before we delve into the RPR of it all? Nope. Okay, because the RPR one looks beautiful. I love the RPR reports. I don't know if even Barry knows this, but they are updating their system February 23rd. So everything is going to look new and improved and different, but it's going to be super pretty. So we're excited for that.
I only knew that because you told me about 2 weeks ago it was going to happen.
Did I? Well, there you go. Yeah, so in front of me, let me open. I don't even know if you guys can see what's in front of me. I don't think so.
I
No,
did
we're
want to
still on
verify.
screen.
I'm sorry.
Oh, I did want to verify that the CMAs, we're using that data so that way we could potentially negotiate pricing, right?
You can
With the
use it for
seller.
two separate things. So your seller, your listing presentation is going to determine what you're putting a house on the market for. Whereas if you're looking for a buyer, you want to say you could use it for, is your pricing within the right realm of pricing?
Okay.
All right, so here's what the HomeSnap CMA looks like. It does use kind of the Google Street View overview in this one. It's got my information. It's got my email address. It's got a little bit about this report. You'll see this one is 45 pages long. So you can kind of, it goes through my subject property first, all my comp map, and my listings one by one. Okay. Also, I know we're kind of going through all these really quickly. What I would tell you is build one for yourself after the call. See how they all look when they come to you, because they are very different and similar in many ways. All right. Here's our last and final one today. Ooh. Now, RPR is not a MARIS product, it's an NAR product. So the moment you became a realtor, you have access to RPR. RPR, a lot of agents get very freaked out because it is a lot of data, but it's a lot of really good data. So let me kind of explain what you have through here. So we're looking at 908 Phillip Court. The RVM is 246.9. But remember that when we've been building these reports, they've been up in the 320s, some of it. And when we were talking to Barry earlier, there's an extra 60 grand just based off the market in some areas. Okay, so that RVM is based off old data. Because of the way the market is so hot right now, things are priced a little differently. So you kind of have to play that all in together. So if I want to update this RVM, that 246, I can go in and refine based off information, right? Maybe I'm going to adjust facts. Maybe the public records data wasn't right. Maybe there's a home improvement they did that was worth a lot. Maybe there's something they need to improve. Or maybe the local market conditions are affecting that value. Okay, so I can kind of move those around to change and add a change there. All right, so that is all through that refined value piece. Okay, and what you're updating is that RVM. It's a Realtor Valuation model. You'll also see this as an AVM, which is an automated valuation model that works mostly off of public records data. The RVM adds realtor data on top of it, giving it that higher confidence score. And you can always go in and see exactly which comps it used to pull that value also. So we're going to go in from there, and we're actually going to build the create a comps report. So I'm going to go up and hit create report right here. Oh, what did I just do? Where did my thing go? Oh, right here is the last comp analysis I did. Because you won't have done one, right here it will have create your comp analysis. But because I had created one previously, it gave me one. When I go in and edit this, then is what you guys will see when you hit create. So I have two reports, a comp analysis and a sales comparison analysis. The comp analysis is the quick and simple. We're just going to rate how much like that subject property my comparable is. The sales comparison, we're going to go in and adjust for anything you can possibly think of on a property, whether that's quality of construction or bedrooms and bathrooms and pools and whatever it would be.
I just wanted to be clear while Randi Marie's teaching, when she's told me the value of my home was $102,000, she was not hired as my realtor.
Right. When I saw that, I was like, 102.
I remember doing that because we had fun with it, because we were looking at all kinds of crazy stuff that's out on the market. And that's how we ended up coming up with it. But yeah, just so you know, Randi Marie was not hired.
Yes, no, as I should not have been. I even told them that your 246 is a little low right now, that RVM. So to remember the hot market value you were talking about earlier.
246. And if you look at the multiple sources, because if you look at the very first, it said it was over 300K. It had it listed over 300K, and then it was 246 and then 255. So yeah, you can see prices are going up even from last year, because you see that the house that's identical to mine across the street from me sold for 238 in March, April of 2020. Wow. A year later, now we're looking at, even on a conservative estimate, you're looking at $20,000 and $30,000 and $40,000 more.
That's so crazy. But yeah, so here we are. We have, and they're the same 5 steps no matter which report you're going to start with. Okay, so I'm going to confirm my home facts and say, yes, this is not a 3-bedroom, it's a 4, and it's got 3 bathrooms. Okay, and this could be different, but we'll just remove that. And my living area space, maybe that's different, maybe that's changed. And I'm going to confirm those facts and close. And then we'll go out and do a search. So I'm going to edit this search here we have. So we're going to take a look and go through each of the individual properties, the active for sales. Maybe you want pending, maybe you want sold, maybe you want it within the last 6 months, and 4 bedrooms and 3 bathrooms. This is what it generally tries to search by. So if you don't want it to search by one of those, uncheck it and check something else. And then just go ahead and run your search. When you, whoa. What did I just do? Where did it take me? I've done something wrong. That's
it was creating. It was actually creating the report.
I was going to say I did something. Let's go back out here. Wonder if I can clear it out. I don't know. I'm just kind of playing with things. Okay, what is it doing to me? And there should be more than this. So it's probably, guys, it's definitely something that was based off of the search, me doing it earlier. I need to clear these out before I do them. But as you go through and do your searching, they'll show up here at the bottom. As you find the ones you like, you can always click on them for more details. You can just add them to your comps list over on the side. All right. And yeah, it's definitely how I've got something set. It started that 100 and the last time. So you hit that update valuation and close.
Hey, my house went up 40 grand.
Right? I'm getting better. I'm still not 100% there. Barry's still not hiring me.
I'm still not hiring.
And then we can go in and adjust our comps, right? So this is where you're going to say whether it's worse or better than what we have on the market or than what the subject has. And that you'll notice as you do it, it does an adjustment for itself based off of what you're saying. And then you can leave a note here as to why you added those notes in there. And then I'm going to update that valuation and close. And then we're going to go in to review our comp analysis by editing that range if we want to. Of course we do. And then we want to create that report. Okay. Now, if we did the second option, the sales comparison, we've got those same kind of comps in there, but the change is here on this ability to make an adjustment. All right, so look at all these boxes. You have a bunch of boxes to do whatever you'd like to with adjustments and to add notes as to why and to weight each of those differently. So if one of these is kind of similar, but it was the only one you had that looked good, we can weight that so it's a little less important than the other ones that we weighted in the system. All right, once we update that, same simple 4, 5, create your report. When you create a report inside of RPR, it takes about a minute or two to build. And then when you do, there's a little doorbell at the top that will chime. You have your doorbell turned on. If you have a puppy, click the little bell, turn it off so your puppy doesn't go crazy for the doorbell. But you can also go in and look at each of these. So the sales comparison, that last one we did, it creates a valuation workbook. And this is what that looks like. It's 37 pages long. And as they scroll through, they get a bunch of data. Now, the great thing that RPR does under more details is tells you exactly what each page does and gives you the ability to turn that page off. So from 37, I can work my way down to a smaller report if you want to. I did ask them if the new one will hold my settings, and they haven't gotten back to me yet on that one. So I'm hoping that's an update there. And then the seller's report is the kind of quick and simple one. This starts at 75 pages. So kind of take a look down at there, especially if you're going to be printing in the Keller Williams copy room. Make sure that you want all 75 of those pages going through. Once you're through at the bottom, you can personalize your report and deliver it. The display now is the one where it will pop up here on the top of your screen. The email to will still go into your reports, but that's going to email it instead of just display it here. It will generate right up here as well, and those will save for 30 days. So at any time you can open that up. If you have RPR on your phone and you're walking through the home and they said, oh, you did that CMA for me before, you can just open it up on your phone and take a look at it. So it's pretty quick and simple to use. All right, guys, I know we're at 12. So that is everything I have to show you. What questions do you have that I can help with?
There was a lot of information.
Absolutely.
Yeah, I need these to be on top to bottom like the command, because I was trying to keep up. And you do a good job of showing, but I was like, this isn't a keep up.
I understand. And remember that Barry has these taped or recorded, I think, so they go online for you guys. So you can always stop and pause and play. We have extra ones too. If you ever need me to send you detailed sheets of how to do things, please let me know. Definitely don't feel overwhelmed. There's lots of people to help you with this stuff. And actually, I'm going to put my email address up so that you guys know.
One thing, if you could do this real quick for me, go to the home page and show them the help menu and how to get to the videos. There are videos for anything and everything you need.
Nice.
Yep. So at MARISMLS.com, we have a videos page. Okay. And if you just type in the keyword CMA, hopefully, you'll be able to get every CMA option here. So here's Remine, here's Matrix, here's Home Snap, there's
Randi Marie.
There's Randi Marie. Red hair over the platinum. But yes, even the CMAs, you have options where we try and divvy out each one into a little 5-minute snippet of what you could use. So those are always available to you at any time to use them. Our classes are always here. If you see one on the calendar you've passed already, if you click on it, you can just register and get the recording. So it's pretty quick and simple to access all of that information. And of course, remember the learn more options are there to help you also. And if that doesn't get you where you want to go, The help button here in Matrix has a contact us. And support is awesome. You can always, always, always call the support team, or you can email me at rmpenny@marismls.com, and I will walk you through whatever you need to. When we're on that classes page, which I need to add some more, there's one-on-one education hours. It's a half hour. We meet on a Zoom call or a webinar, and we go over whatever you want. The topic is yours to choose. So let me know. But if no one has any questions, that's it from me.
Thank you so much, Randi Marie.
Absolutely.
Guys, you have no idea how much I appreciate this young lady and the things that she does for us. She comes over every month. When we were in person, she would come over and actually hold a physical class.
Mhm.
And you could sit down and she would work on your computer and her computer and this, the office's computer. And that way all your stuff was set up. But over the last year, obviously, we've been in the land of Zoom. And every month consistently, Randi Marie, whether it's during the day or I even had her one night get on because we had a night class that we needed to do. She was more than willing to come on and help us out. So for everything, I say thank you.
Thank you. I appreciate it. You're very welcome. I am happy to help. So, and I appreciate being asked to come. So thank you guys as well.
All right, guys. So that concludes our training for today. We will resume training on Tuesday. And until then, I want everybody to be safe, be careful. It's, nasty weather out and it's supposed to get cold. So stay warm.
Absolutely.